Hello everybody, and welcome, Tony. Thank you for gracing us with your presence this evening. Today is a very interesting show, and every show is interesting. I'll always say that. I'll never tire of saying that. But today's show is interesting because we talk about entrepreneurship. But this is what I say is interesting. All our entrepreneurs, all our guests on the show today are under 25 years old. How many people dare to risk and go into the world of business at such a young age? Truth be told, it took me a while to get the guests today. Apart from Tanya, who I can say I've known all my life. The rest, it was quite a challenge finding young Kenyans who are in business. Remember, our show streams live and addresses various topics in a light and fun way as we engage in discussions with our guests who are Kenyan entrepreneurs, industry leaders, innovators, and we want to hear their story. And today we'll hear the stories. In studio, we have, starting with the ladies first today, we have Suad Hassan, we have Tanya Munyo, and we have got Flavor Rohio. And of course, our host, who is a familiar face on our screens, Mr. Waweru Njoroge, the brand himself. And behind the scenes, we've got Mr. Elijah Mumo, who's in charge of the controls and the technical aspects of this platform. For those watching us live on YouTube or Facebook, you can ask your questions or make comments, and we bring them up on the screen. We value your contributions and your questions. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook handles, which is at Gr8leadership Live. The 8 is number 8, or email us on Gr8leadership@gmail.com. So, Waweru, over to you now. I'm looking forward to the show.
Thank you so much, Martin. You know what I feel about people being brands, but we took that up. We'll pick it up with our brand guys when they come back. Again, thank you everybody for joining us on Gr8leadership Live. We always tend to run out of time, so let me just jump into it very quickly. I'm going to start with Swad and ask you a very quick question. What is your background story and how did you come up with the idea that you have right now?
Mike?
Swad, you're muted. There you are. No. Tanya, do you want to go ahead and do that as we get for Swad to come on? So what's your background, what's your backstory, and how did you come up with your idea?
Okay, my background story, I guess, first of all, I'm 19, that's to say, and pretty much all my life I've been kind of raised by both my parents to do art as much as possible, to be as creative as possible, whatever I wanted to do involving art, or just I got my creative energy, they allowed me to do so, gave me an opportunity. So I guess that's why I've kind of always been interested in art. And so now linking this to my business, Obsidian Circus, it actually started during quarantine. I was literally just sitting down at home and I was like, hey, I've been drawing a lot, I've been doing a lot of artwork, might as well. And a lot of my artwork tends to be focused on kind of countering social norms, countering all these different discriminatory beliefs. And so I said, let me push this out as a form of social activism and kind of show people that they can use creative writing and visual art as an avenue. And that is how Obsidian Circus came to be.
Okay, thanks for that brief intro. Swad, are you back on, or we jump to? I'm saying we jump to Swad or Favor.
Swad, can we hear you, Mike? No.
Okay, let's go to Favor as we try and sort out Swad then.
All right. So, my name is Favor. I'm passionate about business, and I got into business in elementary school. I began selling candy in school, and that's where I discovered my dream and love for business, being able to turn nothing into something and also add value and just see people being happy with what you're doing. And from there, I tried a couple things, tried a couple business projects, and during my gap year is when I really went deeper into it. That's when I discovered Mochaka. They had been founded shortly before, So I joined in, volunteered, worked on a couple things with them, and I was actually consulting for them for free. And that's when I joined the team, and that's where that's really what kickstarted a lot of things. And after that, I've been able to go into other projects and other sectors as well, and still work on building the business as well. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Favor. Actually, something you just mentioned. I don't know. Yeah, Swat, I think we can now have a quick one from you in terms of what your backstory is and how you got your idea.
Hmm. We are having Sword. We can't hear you.
The joys of
Sword.
being live shows.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Let's.
something actually that Favor said, and just for the uninitiated, I think what elementary school is primary here. So in terms of what you did in primary school, I'm going to now jump to Tanya and ask her, based on what actually Favor just said, it's something that triggered a question that I have. Is to ask the question: do you think, and given also what you just decided to do, are entrepreneurs born or are they made? Is it an issue of circumstance, or is it something you wake up in the morning and just say, you know what, I feel like setting up Obsidian, kind of thing?
I feel like that's such a difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you could say entrepreneurs are born, because to be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to have some sort of, creative idea, creative exploration, and the drive to do it. And I guess not everyone has the extreme drive to push some ideas and make them into, businesses and others. But at the same time, if you grow up slowly getting into something, slowly picking up a couple hobbies, you might then discover this drive. So I think in both ways, it kind of depends on who the person is, how they've grown up, and what they do in general. Personally, I believe that my entrepreneurial nature I was probably born with it, but I'm not sure. Because like Beba said, I did sell art at a young age as well. I used to sell them to neighbors, little paintings to neighbors in my apartment building.
Okay. You just fix that. Okay, that's the thing we didn't actually know. That's why we're asking about the backstories as well. Swat, are you with us now? Yes, we can see you. Unfortunately, we cannot
Maybe
hear you.
if you have headsets, maybe you can plug them in.
Okay, then I'll ask the same question too. I mean, obviously, because Tanya has kind of said the same thing. I was don't know whether there's a thought of mine where, while some say some are born, would others be then, for example, if we take the COVID situation we have right now, and Favor, I'm going to ask this question. Aren't there circumstances that then create people to then have to innovate or think outside the box? And that's such a cliched term, but, start to reinvent themselves as a result of the likes of COVID-19 or whatever the case may be?
So I'll answer both questions. From the previous question, I think some of the greatest entrepreneurs are the ones who are made, not just born, because being born means you have that inherent disposition, that inherent inclination. But then being made means you're put in a scenario and you prove yourself. It's proven and tested. It's like the same way you would, prove the quality of a metal through heat, like gold. So I think some of the best entrepreneurs are the ones who are made. You take the likes of Elon Musk, who I'm a huge fan of. His entrepreneurial journey was through being placed in scenarios where he had to deliver and prove himself. And now jumping to your last question, I think especially with COVID-19, you get to see people get to have a space in which, because of the seclusion from work, school, and their typical environments, they get to explore new things. Tanya was able to start a new business through a passion she's had for years and a gift she's had. Say now, taking my scenario, I've been able to work with a couple of friends who are engineers, and we have a COVID innovation as well that we've been working on. We're working on the patenting process and the copywriting process. So it's still, I think definitely entrepreneurship is better if it's inborn, in the sense that one is has a predisposition for risk,
Okay.
innovation, and great ideas. But then the best is when it's made, actually. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Swat, are you able to hear us now? Or rather, can we try and hear you? Okay, we'll.
Maybe while Stuart is starting her laptop, I can show some of her pictures. I think that will be. We can talk about her stuff. Huh? So Stuart runs a bakery called Alpha Delights, and we've got some of her work over here, which I'll put up just now, and you can see lovely stuff that she makes. When I received the pictures, I actually wanted to order cake from my usual supplier. There we go. That's some of our products. You can see all that detail, the flowers. Look at that.
And yesterday was Eid, so I'm sure she must have got quite a few orders for her cakes as well.
Yes, actually, she kindly asked me on Wednesday to allow her. She was baking, I think, the whole of Wednesday night and Thursday night to meet orders for Friday. So I know she was very busy, and I think she hardly slept this pre-Eid. So that's some of her stuff over there. You can see the beautiful drawing over there.
Wow, I didn't
So that's some. Yes, everything just looks so delicious. Yeah.
And we got some more pictures of food coming on the way as well. Actually, there's a lot of stuff I'm going to be showing. A lot of Tanya's drawings, and obviously we have a clip from Favor. I need to get his autograph at the end of this, by the way. But let's shift gears then. That will be coming up a bit later. Remember, if you have any questions for any of our guests, please shoot them off to us, and we'll try and get them answered in the course of the show. Swad, are you with us now? Oh,
hi. You can hear me.
Perfect.
Yes, now
Finally.
Nice to hear your voice finally.
Okay, let me come to you now because we've not heard from you. I'm going to ask the same question in terms of very first one, so people get to know who you are. So, what is your backstory, and how did you come up with your idea?
My backstory is that this was a childhood hobby. Ever since I was young, I used to bake. People used to tell me that I bake more than I cook, and then I just ended up selling, then became a business. My family is very supportive, by the way.
Okay. Any particular inspiration in terms of who your mentors were, or was it something that because you've been doing it as younger, or is it people you looked up to who said outside of that, you say, I want to aspire to be like this person?
My brother and my mother. My brother also started an aviation school at a very young age, yes.
Okay.
My mother is very hardworking. Yeah. My brother's school is called Alpha Aviation, hence my name Alpha Delights.
Ah, okay. Now you see, learn something new every day.
It's located in Wilson Airport.
Okay. There was something that we were just talking about when we were showing your pictures in terms of, you told Martin that you had to get cakes ready for Eid on Friday, so you're working very hard. So my question then becomes, is typically how many hours do you work on average per day? Or do you just outline your day? Do you get up at like 3 o'clock and then by 6 you're doing this, etc., etc.?
I work as per orders, depending on how many orders of cakes that I get. Example, on Eid day, I worked the whole day, but there's some days that you get like 3 to 4 orders. So minimum per order is 1 hour.
Okay. Right. I'm going to bring Tanya and Favor back into the conversation. And typically what you tend to ask is, what is a big challenge for entrepreneurs? And that tends to generalize things. I want to ask you guys individually, what are the biggest challenges you've had in your career or in your entrepreneurial ventures so far, and what obstacles have you had to overcome? I'll start with Tanya.
Right. Well, I feel as an artist, one of the biggest, issues, I guess, would be writer's block, or like artist block, or creative, just a giant creative block. That's, I think, one of my biggest struggles, because sometimes I'll spend a whole day just doing work, drawing, painting, coming up with new ideas, writing like new poetry, but sometimes I can go a week and not have anything to produce, anything in mind. So that's been a struggle, but recently I've actually had a great time producing. I've been doing almost like 5 hours a day, just doing random things, whether it's like painting a small little picture or doing a giant one, like the bigger ones behind me. And I think the second one would also be in terms of clothing, because we put my business puts its art on clothing as well, which is like the hoodie I'm wearing right now, and you can get it on our site. So the printers or the vendors sometimes are really slow, especially during this whole COVID thing. So that's been one of the biggest struggles, like it's just getting the vendors to deliver stuff on time, getting people to ship things out on time, and just paying for everything, getting everything sorted in terms of printing.
Okay, cool. Favor, if you can jump in and give me the answer to that as well. And then Swat, I'd also like to ask you the same thing in terms of what are the biggest challenges you've faced and obstacles you've had to overcome. Favor?
I think in the beginning, some of the biggest challenges are figuring out the market, and really which are the best customers to approach, which are the best customers to focus on. But then, especially when it's something new, like where in the case of Machaka, where the product is new, or you're entering a segment that's not very common in that specific niche, or in the case of some of the other projects I've worked on, where it's an innovation that you're building from the ground up. The greatest challenges are figuring out the best fit. And I'll use an example of Elon Musk, is that in the beginning, when they're starting Tesla, they realized that the approach they used for the car seemed brilliant at first until they began actually implementing. And they realized it was the worst idea, but it brought out some of the best perspectives, ideas around ways in which they could work around that same car. And they ended up building custom cars, rather cars from the ground up ever since. So I think sometimes some of the greatest challenges bring out the best ideas, the best opportunities. For instance, jumping off what Tanya mentioned, I did art in my last year of high school. It was a college level art class, and I remember some days coming to class and you work on, an eighth of the canvas you're working on because you have artist block. But then some of the ideas that you get from that small section help bring clarity to the rest of the piece. So sometimes the best challenges bring out the best opportunities. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Favor. Swat, what are the biggest challenges you've had to face as an entrepreneur? Something else I noticed also what Tanya was talking about and Favor just picked up. In terms of the designs I can see on your cakes, you also has to have some sense of artistic flair to what you do as well.
Yes. But one of the biggest challenges is capital to expand the business. The other one is competition. There's really high competition, especially during Corona. Everybody is just jumping into baking, be it donuts, be it cookies. Most people are baking right now. So the competition is really high.
So in terms of then, how did you identify a business strategy, given what you just told me just now?
Okay. Basically, I just started with marketing with customers. I identified my students, fellow students mostly. Most of them were the ones who were supporting me, and they told their families, and their families told their families, and that's how mainly people got to know about the Alpha Delights.
Okay. I'm going to come back to that question a bit later. I just realized I've not asked Tanya and Favor. Your mentors, who made you then say, okay, fine, this is what I really want to do and this is what I have a passion for? Or is it something that you just said, I'm interested in, and if I have an interest in it and I find it fun. You see the option of what somebody once said to me: do stuff, especially if you're doing an entrepreneurial material, do stuff that is interesting, not stuff that is fun, which is a bit of a misnomer as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, let's look at it from that perspective. Is this something you've always been interested in, or is it something that you're fun, or you see other people who you want to emulate? I'll start with Tanya on that question.
Biggest mentors. I think the first kind of mentor I had, not really a mentor, but the first kind of inspiration I had was this smaller artist from the US called 730T. And they just did a bunch of art that kind of challenged a lot of societal beliefs, and just, they were weird kind of pieces, like weird pieces that people kind of feel uncomfortable looking at sometimes and feel that, oh, this is a bit off, this is not like, like lighthearted artwork. And so I got the idea from that, and that's art I really enjoy looking at. So I was like, okay, the more you challenge society, the more they begin to look outside of the bubble that we've been, I guess, brought up looking or staying within. And I guess, yeah, off of that, I think my other inspiration would probably be myself and my mom, because pretty much my whole life I've always challenged people. I've always questioned why. Like if someone tells me, for example, one of my biggest fights, I guess, is against homophobia. If someone tells me, oh, I don't know, if someone says something homophobic, I will always question why. Or if someone says something against environmental conservatism, I'm like, okay, why? Like I've always questioned. So I guess my mom's always encouraged me to, not talk back necessarily, but kind of be devil's advocate and be like, why would you say this, or why are you thinking like this? And I guess that's adding to the list of challenges, is finding a lot of closed-minded people who look at my work and I don't know, it makes them uncomfortable, and they constantly ask and like kind of repel against it, and they're like, no, this is horrible. And yeah, I just like to encourage them to kind of see it from a different lens. And that's, I guess, my inspiration, getting people to see from different lenses. Because once you do that, it's fantastic. Like there's so much change that can be brought once people see things in a different light.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Favor, are you somebody who talks back?
It depends. It depends on the situation. So if it's something that, like she said, that I'm passionate about, then I'll definitely not sit back. But then if it's something whereby actually engaging the person in that discussion will be futile because it'll exasperate the situation more than it'll actually address it, then in such situations, I'll take a step back. But no, I don't engage just for the sake of it, but then when it's actually necessary, especially in terms of solving the problem or the situation at hand. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Favor. I know, Swati, you need to just take off very quickly. So let me ask you a question, especially given the industry you're in, where you also mentioned that there's a lot of people who are jumping in on doing a Me Too kind of scenario. So how do you actually generate new ideas in terms of, are you inspired by nature? Are you inspired by those around you? Because I saw like the picture of the cake with the roses. It's a lot of intricate work there. But yeah, how do you generate new ideas?
By basically market surveys and learning more about what your customers would really like, and taking feedback extremely seriously. If they criticize something, you take it positively and you turn it into your challenge. That's how I generate new ideas.
Okay, I'd like to ask Favor the same thing. And I know a concept you had, and you say you got another one in the works. But yeah, how do you generally, I'm sure you put down a lot of stuff here and there, but how do you then pick the ones that you think, okay, fine, this is dynamite, or this is the aha moment?
I'll go back to something here whereby, entrepreneurship is about on something that has value or something in that regard, but not something rather against what we had said, whereby some people would say that it's something you love. I think entrepreneurship is, in our case, especially for Suad, who loves cakes and pastries and baking, Tanya, who loves art, if it's something that you love and you see value in terms of the impact, what it will do, or how it makes you feel, then even through the tough times, you'll be able to do it. When it comes to figuring out new ideas, it'll be something you enjoy doing. So in my case, I enjoy reading and learning new things. So for the project that we're working on, we're able to come together. We actually worked on entirely virtually. Um, that's for the COVID-19 project. And it's one thing that we've been able to reach out the specific niches in terms of our different just, oh, just dive in and really maximize on what we can each do. So I think when you see value in what you're doing and you enjoy what you're doing, you're able to really go into it. Yeah.
Okay, Tanya, where do you get your source of inspiration in terms of how do you generate new ideas?
Things I experience on a daily basis, I'd say, because I'm always just, I don't know, I think about a lot. Like I can look outside and look at a tree and be like, okay, I'm going to write about trees doing something or draw something extremely creative out of that. So I guess most ideas just come randomly. I really don't think about anything I do in terms of artwork or writing. And I see my sister commenting, and I would just like to say hello. Yeah, my inspiration is random, very random. Things that happen every day. I can stuff my toe on the side of the table and then like come up with something to do with that. That's I guess my inspiration.
Okay, cool. Something that Favor said, I just triggered another question I had in terms of, you mentioned the word reading. One of my favorite pastimes, and most people who know me know that. But I was going to ask a question about in terms of what actually are some of the sources of learning that you would recommend to people who are watching right now who would like to actually start looking at entrepreneurship as a venture they want to get into. You mentioned about reading, Favor. I want to ask the girls first, and then I'll come back to you, because I mean, there's different aspects in terms of whether you listen to podcasts, TED Talks, and all those kind of things that become basically sources of knowledge that you can actually use and apply to being an entrepreneur. So I'll start with Swat, that question.
Majorly, I look up to established businesses. You can check out their challenges and how they got to overcome them. And I usually Google most of the things because everything is in the net nowadays. So anything that you want to learn about, you just Google and you get your answers, or you ask your mentors and they can advise you more on whatever you want to learn on.
Okay, Favor, since you're the one who triggered that question, please elaborate more on your reading patterns.
So on a given day, I'll spend time reading articles, blog posts, white papers, where like people who engage really crazy and outright not normal ideas in terms of business, in terms of innovation. I'm also a foodie, so you check out a couple posts on Facebook, a couple posts online on blogs. I'm not on Pinterest, but I do have a Pinterest account. So, like say in Suad's case, she could check out posts from different people who post on your Pinterest boards and Instagram blogs as well. So in my case, it's some TED Talks. I have one of my mentors is called Paddy Wangi, and I remember a couple of times we drive together because like I shadowed him quite a bit during my gap year. He wouldn't listen to music in the car. He'd actually listen to podcasts, and it's one of the things that really inspired me, because even now, like I listen to a lot of music, but then I listen to a lot of podcasts as I work and do stuff. So you get to really have really inspirational perspectives, ideas running in the background as you do your different things. So I think but when you make it part of your lifestyle that you love to read, engage, and really pursue topics that you're passionate about, then it'll always become easy to make that transition and continuously improve. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Favor. Tanya, just bring it home.
I was really engaged in Favor's answer. Could you please ask the question again?
You're so enthralled. I was asking the question is, Yeah. See, Veva, you really completely captured everybody's. So I was going to ask the question now. What I asked is, what are the sources of learning that you'd recommend for entrepreneurs who are just starting? Favor just mentioned the aspect of when you're sharing his mentor, he would be listening to podcasts when he's in the car. But yeah, for yourself, in terms of, so I want to start a business. So I want to start similar to what you're doing in terms of I want to do something like Obsidian. So what do you, in terms of what you learn or what you get your sources of learning, what would your recommendation be?
You see, I guess my path with Obsidian Circus specifically hasn't been your general kind of entrepreneurial path. I haven't really looked at any major, I guess, business sources, entrepreneur sources, like ways to kind of build on businesses. I source all my information or all these things from books, I guess. I'm really obsessed with philosophy, and I constantly read philosophical, articles, just books, everything. And I'm obsessed with kind of the weird philosophical concepts that people don't really like engage with. Like people will talk about, I guess, human nature or personhood, but I will go into like the crevices of philosophy, like nihilism and all these other things that we talk about in the intersections between multiple different things. So I guess that's my recommendation for people who want to start businesses or start building on something that will, I guess, challenge societal norms, challenge these things, and like encourage people to become better social activists. Then I highly recommend reading just things about society, things about how people function, things about what we believe in, like things about truth, what is truth, why are we predisposed to hate certain things, just all these questions. I recommend questioning a lot.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Swat, I'd like to ask you this question. And it's now completely gone from what we were talking about and coming back to actually how being an entrepreneur actually affects those around you. And asking the question, how has it actually affected your family? Do you find sometimes you're away from them because of the work you're doing, or are they fully supportive? Or, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying they're not going to be supportive. My question is, how is being an entrepreneur? Hey, there we go. Never be a show without that. Scratch. Put one up for right. So, how has being an entrepreneur affected your life, or your family rather, your family life?
Being an entrepreneur has actually made me grow very more. And then my family is obviously very, very supportive. But on talking about my education, I work from home, so it's very flexible. I also study from home nowadays since there's Corona. So I have an ample time baking and also reading. Yeah, anytime that I'm free, I bake. Anytime I need to bake, I bake. Anytime I have classes, I do the reading.
Okay, thanks, Swat. Right, I want to come back. Yes.
You know, we have to release Suad very shortly. Can I quickly bring up 5-10 pictures of hers? We appreciate.
The floor is yours.
The art, and Suad can just tell us a word or two very quickly, and then we'll release you, Suad. Okay. We were talking earlier about the detail. When you had gone off temporarily, the detail, the fine detail in you see like the flowers there, the decor. Look at that. Tell us about that.
That was actually my nephew's birthday. He really does love dinosaurs, and he really wanted a dinosaur cake. And he's like, I wanted a big dinosaur cake. And you know, when you love children, they love everything, and you just make it the best for them so that they're happy. At the end of the day, it's their birthday.
And who designs the cakes for you? Is that you? Who does the artwork?
Yeah, that's me. The dinosaurs are plastic, actually.
But the rest of the waterfall.
Yes, the rest is edible. That's just cream, blue cream.
Wow.
And then inside, the flavors are obviously whatever you want, your vanillas, your chocolates, or your rainbows, or your tres leches, and things like that.
Look at that. Look
Those
at
are
that.
volcanoes.
The what?
Volcanoes.
Volcanoes.
Yes.
Volcano. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah,
talented.
I'm putting on weight just looking at them. Don't worry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted guys to see that from Sword before we release her. Sword, we'll see you back again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, all right. We'll see you before we end the show. Over to you, Wes.
All right, no problem. I believe we have some pictures from Tanya as well, and a video from Favor. But let me just ask them then a very quick question in terms of, um, I don't know, depending on, obviously this is all based on your experience, but what do you think, if you were to narrow down everything that you've done, what would be the three top skills that you think other entrepreneurs should have in their arsenal or in their war chest?
Oh,
Tanya, yeah.
I was gonna give this a favor first. Need to think. Uh, Creativity, that's number one. Drive, and I feel like I'm gonna leave the third one open because it
Mhm.
depends on the type of venture they're going on. Like it depends on what they're trying to build on. Yeah, so creativity definitely, because you need to, come up with something that's going to engage people, that's going to allow you to enter the market, and be just something new, bring something new to the table, and drive to push you to be able to do it, to like make you work tirelessly, just endlessly to push forward your product, to do whatever you have to do to make it work. So the third one is open and optional depending on
Okay, cool. And then Favor, what do you think are the top three skills that ideally should an entrepreneur should have?
Um, I'll go with exactly what Tanya said. I'll leave the third one open. That was a good call. Um, Definitely creativity and innovation. So creativity is always being able to come up with new ideas, but then innovation is figuring out how to apply them. So with, say, now I'll use Tanya as an example with how she's passionate about philosophy and engaging really deep topics, and Kravis is in philosophy, then being able to find a way, if you're an artist, to apply that in your art is that innovation. So innovation is taking it a step forward. And then being able to have that resilience and tenacity as entrepreneurs is everything, because one thing that's really important with entrepreneurship is when because no one's going to motivate you. That's one fact. It's you and your business and your partners. So when you don't have that motivation from either you're not selling or your business is not profitable, to believe in it, and then also be able to see where it should go. So having that resilience, having innovation. I think I'll add innovation slash passion, because if you believe in why you're doing it, even when it's tough, even when it doesn't seem to make sense, when you don't feel like it's going to where you intended to, you will get there. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Favor. Martin, I believe we have
Yes,
a video. Hey, I was going to say video. Hey, what? A video to show.
I have something here.
You have a video?
I have a video.
Mm-hmm.
It's a link Favors shared. It's off YouTube. And I left it intact with the branding of the KCB and everything. Yeah, so that it is their product at the end of the day. But I hope they wouldn't mind us using just a few minutes to show Favor, because it's more favoring Favor and how he fared in the competition. So here, let's have a look.
Lion's Den, powered by KCB Bank. How did you guys meet and how did your business come about?
So us guys have been friends for the last 18 years, and from high school we've been trying out different recipes to improve the quality of food. And fortunately, along the way we stumbled upon a very awesome recipe from Coast, which has been used for over 100 years. Hello Lions. We're here today to offer you the opportunity to help millions of mothers across Africa always get their families home in time for dinner. And we're doing this by giving them gourmet dining experiences every time they have their meals. My name is Joe, and I'm the co-founder of Mochaka Group Limited.
I'm Fred, and I'm the founder of Mochaka Group Limited.
Hello, my name is Favor, and I'm the Business Development Director at Mochaka Group Limited.
Mochaka is all natural, and all our ingredients come straight from the farm.
And we at Mochaka have developed and pretty much tailor-made an impact sourcing business model. This allows us to offer direct value through our value chain process as well as our customers. So we seek to be environmentally conscious as well as being socially conscious. So we've developed a model where we seek to empower 1,000 young people. This will be through contractual services and also through direct employment. We invite you to come enroll with us as Mochaka for 25% equity at 750,000 Kenya shillings. Thank you.
So if you're selling today on average, you said about 50,000 shillings a month, right? Worth
Yes.
of what do you think is a demand?
For us, what we've mainly been doing is B2C, especially in regards to the small convenience stores and small supermarkets in neighborhoods, just because of the hurdles we faced in regards to credit lines from large retail outlets. They tell us 30 days up to 120. Generally, the average is about 90 days payout. And as you can see, since we're still an SME, that would drain our cash flows. So what we've really worked towards is segmenting our market. And we realized that it's the young families and the millennials who are really interacting with the product.
My question was, today you're doing 50,000 with a constraint on capacity.
Yes.
If you didn't have the constraint on capacity, how much would you do?
We'd do even up to 5,000 pieces.
Thank you.
Two offers are on the table. Joanne partnering with Chris for the requested 750,000 for 25%, and Olive on her own for the same amount. Will the entrepreneurs counter or dig in and grab a deal?
So I'm going to stick to my original offer of 750K for 25%.
Okay, then I guess Chris and Joanne, we have a deal.
So you're looking for money and strategy, and you got it all.
We were looking for Dashan initially, and Joanne. At least we got Joanne, and Chris also owns several restaurants. So that's also a nice deal.
But it's a tough sector. Huh?
I know.
Sauces and condiments, there's a lot of stuff going on in that space. Yeah. And
But I shall be a client. I already use their products, and I like them. I like their chili.
Lion's Den, powered by KCB Bank.
You see now I wanted Favor's autograph. My star. So now, Favor, I just want to ask very quickly, because I know we always tend to run out of time. We always have fun on this show. But I need to find out what was going through your mind, or what were you feeling actually when you were actually standing in front of the lions at that point in time?
So I think first it's best to give credit to where credit is due. So I'll thank the KCB team, but specifically Murad. You can't see it from like when it's showing, but he was actually behind the lines, but to the side, away from the camera's view for sure. But my leg was actually shaking. I remember being super scared because first of all, the room was hot. The distance was actually a bit further than it seems. So you had to center focus, and we had a script that we redid moments before the screening, because we kept on mixing up our parts when we'd step out of the studio area to practice. But being able to just flow with the conversation from our experiences made it easier, because we went off script a bunch of times in terms of what we'd planned. So yeah, it was scarier than it seems, for sure. For sure.
Okay, it looks like you had a lot of fun, and congratulations. Tanya, let's move to you.
I was just thinking how terrified I'd be if I was in David's shoes. Like, I would be sweating, dripping, like I need tissues just everywhere.
But imagine, okay, let's imagine that if you're to then pitch the same idea to Lions and say you have an art gallery, and from there you'll be able to sell X amount of art and what have you, and you'd have to then defend your position, apart from your passion for art. And we've talked about, I think, your business strategy and everything. Yeah, so if you're to go in front of the Lions and you to say, this is my work, and this is what inspired me, and this is what I think people are going to buy into, and this is why I think you need to fund my art gallery. I want to look at some of your pictures. I want you to take me through that. I'm not a lion or anything, trust me. I know the panelists very well, but yeah, I don't hold any muscle compared to them. But yeah, let's have a look at a bit of your art and then see how, yeah, just take us through that a bit.
Okay, first one. So since I do visual and written art, the first one is a poem that I wrote called Big Blue Beauties. It's actually about environmental activism, and the voice or speaker is just a giant whale talking about how humans have kind of destroyed its home, destroyed its space, and how the whale in itself is a really big contributor to everyday processes within like the ocean. And if you look at it from an environmental science perspective, the ocean affects everything we do. And so that's what that poem is about. And the painting behind me is what's in the background. I don't know if you this one, but it's essentially just a bunch of whales and stuff together with alien looking creatures. Just kind of showing, I guess, the bond between people who aren't from Earth and whales. Destroy them and their homes. And the second one is the one that's showing now is what's on the hoodie that, again, you can buy on the website, and also t-shirts. That one was made during this whole BLM situation, because after I was drained horribly by looking at so many stories about the murders of Black trans women, I decided, you know what, I'm going to make something that is, for pride, for Black people, to show like everything's connected. Like, I don't know if you can see all their hair is kind of like connected together and meshed, and you have the flag just there. So that was my idea behind this. It's kind of showing power. Yes. And that one actually was mostly just kind of like a creative promotional piece for Obsidian Circus, because I kind of just put a Black person, I used my face as inspiration for that, and kind of just, incorporated a little flag there, obviously Black skin toned because most of my characters will be, and just kind of showing a bit of my style all in one, meshed together. Yeah. Okay, that is Andy. I don't know if you're familiar with Andy Warhol, but
Yeah.
His work, the grid type thing, is what really just inspired that one. I took inspiration from my friend. That's actually a picture of my friend, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do the single line work kind of thing on it and just do an Andy Warhol style thing. That wasn't really anything huge with that. It was just what came out of my mind at the time, and I really like it. I love that one so much. That's another poem with another kind of Andy Warhol inspired piece at the back. It's called Little Black Child, and it is, for the BLM movement and to combat whatever's going on now, to give some people kind of a voice, say a lot of the things we've been thinking, a lot of the things we've been holding in as Black people in a world like this, and just a poem of empowerment, sorry. Yeah. That one's, again, for BLM. A lot of stuff that's been written during this time has been, I guess, on racism, like homophobia, all of these things. And so that's a really short one, saying I'm not an evil, the voice is a woman, and just speaking about BLM. And this last one, completed very recently, has a lot in it. There's a lot to unpack, but it's mostly just an individual who is, I guess, the gatekeeper. It's called the Gatekeeper, and they are letting people out from this cave, which is a giant box. And the people who are in the giant box are the radicals, the people who are, I guess, described as radical within society, the ones who, go breaking all the social norms, the one labeled as anarchists, the one labeled as, the people who go against all these guys in power. And so this is a gatekeeper who's supposed to keep them in check and in the prison, disguised as a radical, letting them out and just saying, you have your power. Go and be social activists, go and do all these things, go and show them like this, that, and this. That's the massive inspiration from that one.
Fantastic stuff. Actually, a lot of inspiration, and obviously from all our guests, we're very grateful for having them. We seem to have lost Swad.
Swad is back.
She's back? Oh, there she is. Okay, fine. I was just wondering. But thanks, guys. I mean, I love the way you've explained things and the way you brought out the inspiration. Of course, this is Great Leadership Live. And who better to actually have people, the guests on our show are people who are young and empowered, and people who actually want to take on what life has to throw at them. Changing gears now, very quickly. We've got about 10 minutes left. I don't know whether we'll finish the show in time, but let me ask Suad this question because you've been away. What has been the most rewarding part of your role as an entrepreneur?
The most rewarding part of me as an entrepreneur has been to contribute to my family. I help a little bit here and there, but I still contribute. And accomplishing my own goals set by myself, and there's some that are set by others, and I accomplish them. And when somebody tastes your foodstuffs, your cakes, your cupcakes, your cookies, and comes back to you and telling you how they taste amazing, how they love them, how they'll come back again, that's really amazing. It feels great.
Favor, do you want to pick that as well?
Yeah, sorry, I got captivated. Sorry, could you?
You guys, any attention span that one. But anyway, it's okay. I know what I've been hearing a lot of things, and I've been just gawking, and I'm like, okay, fine, that's actually. So, what I was asking question is, what has been the most rewarding part of your role as an entrepreneur?
I think the first most rewarding thing is whatever your entrepreneurial thing is, whether in your business, if it's a product or a service, is when you see it cross a certain stage or milestone. So in Tanya's case, it's when a piece is half complete or complete. In Tanya's case, is when a cake is baked, when a client receives it. In our case, it's when a production process is done, and when clients receive a product, and when feedback comes in. And then from the innovation side of things, when you're coming up with a new product, is when you cross a milestone. And like say in this COVID-19 period where we're doing a lot of virtual work where we're all working in our different locations. That's in regards to the teams that I'm working with. It's when you cross your milestones. So like for the project, the COVID-19 project, we can't talk about it because a few things are still in the past were still pending in terms of the patents and the copyrights, but being able to cross milestones that only because we're four of us, so only four of us can celebrate about. So we cross a milestone, get all excited on the group, but we can't really tell anyone about it. But when being able to cross a milestone in terms of your entrepreneurial thing, whether it's an idea, service, if it's consultancy, whatever it is everything. It's a game changer.
Thanks so much, Favor. Martin, I believe we have some questions from our audience, our viewers.
We have some questions. Let me go start with question number one. It's from Faith Arena, and it's addressed to Tanya. What would you do to overcome the artist's block? Do you embrace it or try and fight it?
I embrace the block. I very much embrace the block. I try, whenever people ask me about this, I always say just do something else, because that's honestly what I do. If I get a huge artist block, I will literally just hang around, watch TV, go outside, go on a walk, go shopping, just anything I can do that doesn't have me constantly thinking about art, and something that happens during my day will trigger that creativity again and help overcome the block. And just quickly, I saw someone mention where they can access my art and where you can read my poetry, and you can find it at obsidiancircus.com.
That's the one.
Thanks.
What site can one access this? And I think it's scrolling down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There's a nice, interesting comment here from Mr. Jack Kimutai. Good to see such courage. You guys know him? Courage, innovation, resilience, and result in the entrepreneurial approach.
It's okay.
Favor. Anyway, yeah. Yes.
Okay, we thank everybody for the comments they've made and the contributions. Obviously, our guests are very critical to our show, but so are our viewers. They keep us going. A lot of people say they're loving the show and the like, and yeah, we really do, and we appreciate all the support you've given us from the day we started. This was like an entrepreneurial idea from Martin, almost written down on a piece of paper on a Thursday some time ago. But yeah, 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, 9 today, so that's 2 months we've been on.
That was 2 months, yes.
We went live on the 6th June.
we're leaving our guests out. So as we try and wrap it up, I'd like to ask the fun questions. Swad, in one word, describe your life as an entrepreneur. In one word, describe your life as an entrepreneur.
Passion.
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 Tanya?
Yeah, passion.
Favor.
Favor. She's jumped to you, and we'll come back to her.
Yes, go to Favor, please.
I think it would be impact. Impact.
That's the one word you want to use to describe your life as an entrepreneur. You see, I can't say entrepreneur. Yeah, okay. Impacts. I've got passion with impact. Tanya?
Okay. Chaos. There's an explanation for that, but chaos.
Okay, if we have some time at the end, I'll come back and ask you guys for actually, no, you can explain yourselves next in this question I want to ask you, right? So if you were to write a book about yourself, how would you name it? And I'm sure everybody's going to say, oh, Favor, go first. No, I'm going to ask. Right, so if you were to write a book about yourself, how would you name it? Tanya, I'm actually going to start with you.
Again, I would actually probably name it chaos, or like just something along the lines of chaotic, because because I've had so much chaos in my life, it's brought so much good and so many great ideas in terms of art. Like something extremely chaotic will happen and extremely destabilizing, and that will bring the biggest art idea I have yet, or the biggest writing idea I have yet. So I guess my life as an entrepreneur is just so chaotic, so many things always going on. Like sometimes I just can't do art, sometimes I can't write, sometimes the website, I am no web designer, so my website acts up a little bit. And I don't know how to fix it, and that stresses me out. But the chaos contributes well, because I guess it teaches me new things. It destabilizes me so I can learn how to better stabilize. It's a really big contribution to my life as an entrepreneur. And I'm really grateful for the chaos in my life, even though sometimes it's really annoying.
At least you're being truthful, that's the thing. And that's refreshing. Suad, same question to you. If you were to write a book about yourself, what would you name it, or how would you name it? Swad?
Oh, I would name it probably passion is the difference between having a job and having a career, because passion makes all the difference.
That's a long title for a book, huh?
I'll call it something sweet.
Now you see, Martin, we do that thing. Have your people call my people.
People, something.
Yeah. Now I'm saying, Martin, that's what you'd be saying to Swad. You've given a very nice idea, so you tell her, have your people call my people. Favor, your book title.
Wow. Yeah.
A hard question.
Yeah, it is.
It's a fun question.
A hard one.
And it probably ties into the last question I'll ask you for this evening, actually. Yeah. So yeah, if you're writing a book about yourself, how would you name it?
I would. Okay. I think I'd actually call it impact, and I'd define it as what you do and how you live your life, and how it makes a difference within your world, being your family, your friends, the people that's around you, and the world around you being your country, the environment you're in, and the rest of the world. So I think that's what it is for that. 50 years from now, when you look back at what you've done, that there's a mark that's been left from everything you did. I think that's really what matters. Yep.
Actually, that brings into what the last question I want to ask for this evening's show. What are your goals for the future? I'm going to start with the gent and then finish the ladies. So, Favor, what are your actual goals for the future?
So I'm passionate about entrepreneurship for impact, because I think I'm not into politics in that sense, but I'm more into like the outcomes of different scenarios. But I think entrepreneurship can solve some of the greatest problems we have. And my goal for the future is to create platforms and spaces for entrepreneurs to succeed. So, God willing, as I succeed, being able to make impact investments with the resources, being the financial resources, intellectual resources, social resources that I have on businesses that that are pursuing an impact, and then being able to mentor other entrepreneurs. Because if you talk of the dilemma we have in terms of pollution in our country, the organic waste that we produce in homes, in restaurants, could power the grid that our electric grid in Nairobi. And being able to harness the energy from our waste that ends up in landfills, that ends up polluting our cities, is something that could be solved with entrepreneurship without even calling upon the government, and it could be profitable and sustain itself. When you look at the situation with COVID-19, that there are different innovations that could be brought about that could not only just save lives, but can make our future safer against possible pandemics. If you look at the financial sector, creating platforms for businesses to succeed actually not only just creates jobs, but creates an environment in which future entrepreneurs can thrive. Because if you're able to take away existential risks, run existential fears, being, where will I get my next meal tomorrow? Where will I get my education? But you make education affordable, even free, I think. And then being able to create platforms for entrepreneurs to exist, to create ideas, to implement their ideas and innovate, will solve problems in the future. Because if you have 10,000 entrepreneurs who are enabled in every county, those are what, about 420,000 entrepreneurs in our country, then that's a game changer. And that's just Kenya. So, yeah.
Thanks so much, Favor. Swat, what are your goals for the future?
To to open up a bakery, also to go it throughout the country and probably make it international. Also help other bakers, inspire others, and help others to make quality cake. Nothing sells like quality.
Thank you so much, Swat. Tanya, take it home.
Wait, before I mentioned Favor started going on about environmentalism, and my heart just screamed. I was like, yes, entrepreneurs and human growth. That was my passion. I was so happy about that. Anyways, that's one of my goals, actually. My goal, I guess, with this, about the entire goal of Obsidian Circus is literally to push for activism, to push for change. So you have like environmental activism with stuff like Big Blue Beauties, and this painting, it has a very long name. But you can find it on my site as well.
As long as Swat's book.
I think probably longer. Probably
the title.
The title. But,
okay, sorry.
Oh, thank you to the person who helped me with IT technicalities. I love you so much. I appreciate your skill. I definitely, would just say my goal is change, to make impact on people's lives, to have my work actually push for real implementation. Because as much as we talk about change and amending all these different discriminatory laws and various other things, nothing is actually happening. And I want something to happen. It's about time we do make something happen.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring words from all our panelists this evening. And yeah, it's always such a pleasure, and it's really nice talking to just a fresh perspective. I'm not saying our other guests have not had fresh perspectives, but this has come through in the passion and the impact and the chaos. Actually come through very nicely. So mine is just to say a very big thank you guys for agreeing to be our guests. I hope a lot of the viewers have got stuff. I've got a lot from what we've discussed today. I certainly have. You can never teach an old dog new tricks, as they say. So thanks for the inspiration. I have my parting shot, as always. I was told not to do that one because it was not politically correct. So I've changed my parting shot, and it goes thus. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. That's an unknown source, but yeah, I kind of like that, So Anybody else, or does anybody want to give a parting shot? Okay, go for it.
I would like to give my little parting shot, which is a complete change in answer, but I promise I'll keep it short. I'm changing my word to circus because
Okay.
one, and
Yeah.
for me, a circus symbolizes that chaos. That's why.
Yeah.
Circus, that's the word. And I leave you all with that word, I guess, and that a circus can be chaotic, and chaotic can be good. Chaos can be amazing. That's my parting shot.
Thank you. Suad, Favor, anything you want to add on top of that?
Suad could go first.
Go ahead, gentlemen.
For me, it's majorly quality and feedback. Those are the two things that I would like to emphasize on, especially if you're dealing with markets, customers, people who are not you. It's more of feedback and quality, because what they want is what they'll tell you. That's feedback.
And Favor?
I think my parting short will be a quote by Elon Musk: is when something is important enough, you do it even though the odds are not in your favor. So, yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys. Again, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Martin, any parting shots?
I have got one thing for you guys.
Shoot.
Coming up here. And that's because I just listened. Everyone had one thing in common, and everyone talked about passion. Passion for what they're doing. And second, it's something that's been with each of the panelists tonight since a very young age. So you've got a passion and something that you've been doing over years, and also support of family and friends, which is, again, what any entrepreneur needs. You need that support system, be it from your spouse, from your family, friends, and so you have the support system. But what I want to put up, basically, you saw the one we put of Confucius.
Yes.
Choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a single day in your life. I mean, today is Sunday, we can be doing other better things right now. But I think it's passion that drives us. And every Sunday here, we are in front of the screens between 6 and 7 p.m. doing something we are passionate about. We are passionate about talking.
And remember, it doesn't pop up at just on a Sunday. There's a whole stuff, especially you do, between the week, before the Sunday comes.
Engaging the panelists, topics and all that kind of thing. And there's this thing I want to share. This will be my parting shot today without. How many of you feel that way?
I would add I live to that.
Sorry?
I would add I live to that.
I live.
I live. Oh,
yeah.
That's my passion. Oops. But no, I live life.
Yeah. Yeah. Thomas Edison said, I have not failed. I have just found 1,000 ways that don't work.
Yep.
As an entrepreneur, I think I've quit. I've wanted to quit Dreamcatcher every year. There's always something that just says I've had enough, But I don't know. We end up here still, pushing on and doing what we like. So for those watching us, thank you for making time to follow our show. As you see, today's guest panelists today was all under 25, all passionate about what they do, very talented. You could see that. You could see that in the cakes, the drawings, Favor and his flavors. I had to say that one. I had to put a flavor and a favor together today. And yes, and Oweru, as usual, thank you very much for moderating the show. And ours is just to say goodbye and see you next week with another interesting topic and guest. Sawa.
Thank you.
Thank you.